by Angela Yee, and what a pleasure to have Dwayne Curry here with me, the original. Okay.
The original gay gangster.
The original gay gangster, the GGs, baby. And if you haven't seen the original story on American Gangster Trap Queens, but then also the movie Fighting to Be Me, the Dwayne Curry story, it's a BET Plus original movie. Man, you guys have got to watch it. I want to say I was actually watching it with Lindsay Granger, and she was so into it. She was like, "I'm about to go home and finish this."
Oh, I'm so filled with love that everyone loves it. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a story of unconditional love when you look at it.
And I want to really get into this because, Fighting to Be Me. First of all, that's the name of it, right? The Dwayne Curry story. What made you say Fighting to Be Me as the title of the story that you wanted to tell about yourself and your childhood and how you became who you are today?
Well, in all actuality, I was sitting up and I was speaking with one of the executive producers, which is Delise James. Mm-hmm. And we were trying to come up with a story, or not a story, but a title. And she said, "Well, Dwayne, what do you think about Fighting to Be Me?" I said, "Perfect. Let's run with it.
Easy.
That's good. Fighting to Be Me, the Dwayne Curry story, because I've been fighting all my life. I feel like Sophia. I've been fighting all my life, So I have. I've just been fighting to be me. So it just only made sense. And once you watch the film, then you'll see.
I feel like true stories are so much more fascinating than anything that anybody could ever make up. I always say that, right? And your story is amazing. So you come from Detroit, but you ended up in Oakland. And, early on in life, you went through some struggles. Can we talk about that first, when you were in Detroit and it just was not working for you there?
I'm an open book. So, where do you want to start? We can go... the childhood was not bad at all. Mm-hmm. The way I was raised and things of that nature, I was really heavily cultivated by my family.
Your name was Eddie at that time. Your mother named you Eddie.
Well, my name still is
right.
Eddie, so they do say Eddie when I go back to Detroit. So I'm not mad, although I am, trans and things of that nature. I don't get, when someone is trying to intentionally insult you, they don't do it. It's, I look at it as, as love.
Right. Your mom is like, "Look, I named you Eddie and I gave you that name. I'm calling you Eddie."
Girl, she do not play. She'll call me whatever she wants. But, girl, you made me lose my train of thought.
Okay, so we were talking about you had a good childhood.
I did. I had a good childhood, and then after the fact, I ended up going the wrong way and ended up on drugs. Mm-hmm. And I always felt like, well, if I don't smoke the crack out of the pipe and I put it in the cigarette or the weed, then I'm not a dope fiend.
Right.
But it took me out. It took me out to the point to where it was extremely bad, to where I had to go to Oakland, where my mother sent me. Mm-hmm. And I ended up going there with my uncle. So it was just, at that time, the identity that I was trying to figure out within myself, I wasn't really comfortable with it because let's be real, I'm 57 years old. Mm-hmm. So I came out in early 80s. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I've always known, but to be out,
to have to tell people, like,
right.
And not only did you know, but everyone knew. It felt like your mom was like, okay, like.
Yeah, she always knew.
Yeah.
She always knew. And, just like they do in the film, she's just like, okay, so I thought you was going to tell me something I didn't know.
And I think that happens a lot, right? Like, when people come out, a lot of times people are like, all right, I already knew this. I still, love it. We're just waiting for you to tell us, like, this is what it is.
People knew before I did. And, I knew. but I never wanted to express it. And it was just something that you didn't talk about. You know, we know who you are, so just keep that to yourself. And my mother still says today, I don't care what you do in your bedroom. That's not any of my business. You know, I've always known or whatever. I was just waiting on you to get comfortable with yourself.
Right.
But it's really hard.
Yeah. Yeah, people don't understand how hard it is because they'll act like today they don't understand why people don't just come out. It's not that hard. There's so many different things that go on, especially with our president back in office, you know, and a lot of the laws that they're making when it comes to trans rights, when it comes to LGBTQIA plus rights, things that are being now rolled back, taken away, and still violence that can happen in the community just because of who you are as a human being.
No, absolutely. I understand what you're saying when it comes down to that. You know, I came out and you just kind of like battle with, you know, your own demons because you got society saying that this is so bad and, you know, and the church and all of this. And then you got your family and only thing we want, or the only thing I wanted was to be loved.
Right.
You know, I thought I had a hard time coming out, but my best friend, Derek, you know, his family is just upper echelon and he didn't really know what to do. And I think I helped him to evolve into being fierce, being fabulous, being beautiful, being everything that he wanted to be. It's like, okay, you say you don't have no support. I'm here.
Right.
So, you know, it's just, you know, it's a different type of situation. People don't understand. That's why so much suicide that goes on.
You think that drugs is also a way for you trying to, like,
Yes.
not be who you are?
Absolutely.
And escape?
It's a way to camouflage what's really going on what you don't want to deal with. You know, so it ended up being more of an scapegoat. So it wasn't until I became clean and I was actually able to see things the way that I needed to see them, especially by way of my uncle. He totally saved my life. When I say that, I mean, what you see in the film is great. I mean, it is great. DB did an excellent job in replicating my uncle.
You got to Oakland after your mom sent you to Oakland because she couldn't take you on the drugs. And your uncle was like, "Are you gay?" And you're like...
Girl, I was so devastated.
Yeah.
I was like, is this motherfucker really asking me? Oh, can I cuss?
Yeah, go ahead.
You know, I'm like, okay, now I'm not in Detroit. Now I'm in Oakland. So now that I'm in Oakland, he done already drove me by the homeless encampment. And I feel like it's a whole setup. So now y'all asses is getting ready to get me a shopping cart and put my whole ass out and go to the homeless encampment. And that was the first time that I actually allowed myself to be fearless and trust my gut and look at him and see the genuineness and the sincerity in what he was asking me. And I said, yes. It took a while, but I said it. You know, in that moment, the moment was long.
Right.
You know, and he started laughing. He was like, well, why are you... He said, what is taking you so long? It's a yes or no.
And make it feel like it's a bigger deal to you than it was to your own family.
I did.
Yeah.
You know, because it's magnified.
And, you know, people would say it's a choice, and I've heard that before, but I feel like no, you know, it's a harder life. And so I don't know that anybody will, like, choose necessarily to make things harder on themselves.
It's like, I mean, that is basically what you said is in a nutshell. Because when it comes down to it, who wants to deal with society being ostracized, people looking at you a certain way, people taunting you in a way to where they're demeaning you. It's not, for me, I've always known ever since kindergarten.
Right.
And maybe before then.
Because it's not about having sex. People also think that
No.
gender identity.
Girl, I got a type. I don't want no broke niggas I'm allergic to and all that. Like, I don't have time for... That's why I'm single today. You know, I'm not like, no, I have a type. It's, you know, just because I am who I am and you are a straight guy, I got many homies.
Right, right.
So many of them where they respect me. And when you look in the film, you could see that. You see that on Trap Queens. Mm-hmm. You know, so it's just like, girl, please.
How did you feel about telling your story for the world to see? First in Trap Queens and then in Fighting to Be Me. Like Trap Queens was first, so and that's an actual documentary. How was that for you? That decision to tell your full story, because that's not always easy for people to be able to do.
It was an experience because they've done 3 seasons, and I am the only transgender that is on there that have actually spoken my story, which I'm extremely grateful to BET Plus. So when you look at it, it could have gone either way. It could have gone left or it could have went right, and it did go right because it's such an interesting story. These people took such a chance on me because they don't know how society is going to react. And the only thing I could do was be transparent and be open and honest and give you the tea.
Right.
And that's what I did. I just shot all the tea. Because,
I mean, you've literally worked with some stars like Mariah Carey, who just got the iHeart Icon Award.
I love Mariah.
Lisa
always.
Ray.
Lisa Ray is my heart. That is my heart. That's my baby. Actually, her and my best friend has the same birthday. Derek. Yeah. So, you know, they be giving me the blues sometimes, but it's so much love.
Yeah, and I, you know, even like for you doing this, and Lisa Ray is also a large part of the story that's in the movie.
Yes. And Yo-Yo.
And Yo-Yo,
Yes.
amazing. Like that you got to work with these icons, but clearly like personality-wise and what you were able to do for them, thanks to the fraudulent scamming, partly, and we'll get to that in a second.
Okay, girl.
You know, because, listen, it's always nice. I always say, man, if I had money like that to just spend, you know what I'd be doing. And you was blessing not just yourself, but other people around you, too. And that was important to you, to be able to do things for your mom, to be able to do things for your friends, for your family. Your uncle ain't want that dirty money, but...
Girl, he kept that Rolex.
Oh, he
so
did?
now they embellished that.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, you bought your uncle a Rolex. He was like, leg, I don't know how you getting this money. But
Girl,
he,
he kept that Rolex.
I want to say, though, it's hard for anybody to not accept a gift, no matter, even if they know it came through, like,
right.
with this swipe.
No, it didn't go through
It's
with
hard.
the... No, you know what? Let me be real
Okay.
clear. This is the
Yeah.
thing. The credit cards and things of that nature that were used were predominantly for flights.
Okay.
So whenever I went shopping, my motto has always been, if you take from the game, you got to give back. So I didn't just buy. I mean, my Chanel bag, that was bought with cash.
Okay.
And she's 20 years old. You
That's
know,
worth a lot now.
Exactly.
That's a vintage.
So, right. So my thing is if you take from it, you got to give back. You know, everything was not fraudulent. And you have to remember that I was a very renowned wardrobe stylist.
And had a shop.
Girl, you know how them, when y'all did ladies' night and all that and everything. And like Brat and I used to be best friends. So me running with them and all that, like I kept y'all separate.
Right. Right.
You know,
Okay.
so I wasn't, if we went shopping,
That was your...
I wasn't doing no sliders with y'all. We not doing that.
Because, listen, I've been around it a little bit, you know, and I know people who have done that. And I also feel like it, and I know people who have bought, you know, everybody has bought things. I think, you know, I'm from Brooklyn. People have bought things
Yes.
from the scammers and all of that. But you think there was a certain point, because you did try to like kind of get away from that life too. It's hard though, right? Because when you start getting things and the money's coming fast and you're making money from your business, but this is supplementing that, you know, at a certain point, because I think we tell ourselves like, okay, I'm gonna stop when I get. Did you tell yourself that like I'm gonna get clean, I'm gonna not do this no more?
I did tell myself that. I think I ended up getting so ahead of myself where I had created such a lifestyle, not just for me, but my family as well. So it always had to be more. I was trying to find a way to be able to
Legit.
Right. I mean,
to get legit.
was. I
That's
mean,
the
because
goal, to get legit.
Look, I was the stylist, head stopping. You know, this is when I'm styling where you basically getting, if you do, what is it, time and a half or something like that, we getting like $15,000 off of a video shoot.
Jeez, that's when they were spending so much money on
back
videos
in the
back
day.
in the day. Yeah.
Remember, babe? It was a whole lot. And so I started doing well for myself, but then something happened and I had to jump back in. And you see it.
Yeah.
To where...
Watch the movie, y'all.
Right.
How embarrassing is it when you have all of these high profile clients and then bang, you ended up, you know, getting arrested. And that's, you know, that's not like somebody that it could be on. It's like we know who Dwayne is. And so now you have to account for people that are these top tier, you know, musicians, artists. And it's a little embarrassing when they see, because maybe they don't even know what's going on. And then they're like, what?
Exactly. And that's why you see in the film who's honored, which is Yo-Yo.
Okay.
And Lisa Ray.
Ooh, because people will
and
definitely...
that would be the finality of it when it comes down to it, because those were my rocks. You know, they lifted me. You know how they always say it takes a village to raise a child? Okay, well... Derek and my mother and my family and Deja, you know, all of them, they were my village. You know, they had to build me back up. So it was real depressing for me to be kind of like blackballed and ostracized because no one was there.
Right.
You know, and
they there when the money's flowing.
And the money was gone.
Yeah,
so it's
when the money's gone.
Look, girl, one thing I don't have to worry about is nobody calling my motherfucking phone about no money.
Now, part of the story is also when you go to jail, you know, it's also hard because you're a trans woman.
Yes.
And then you go to a jail, but you go to a male. And this is something that's a conversation that's happening even now.
Okay.
As on people's IDs and where people go to jail, it's going to be what you were born, what gender is on your birth certificate.
Right.
Right? So for you, having to go to jail, but being trans, talk to us about that and what your thoughts are about what's happening now with the federal government as far as people's identities, their gender identities.
Well, when it comes down to it, when I ended up going to prison, because prison and jail is definitely two different things. When I went to prison, it was extremely different. The way I dealt with it is the way I deal with being in society today. I don't have a problem with connecting and, you know, cohabitating with, you know, any type of people. You know, I'm good. So how I am on the streets is how I went in. You know, of course, there was an unfortunate situation that happened with me when I was in prison. You know, that was really bad. But when it came to adapting and all of that, when it comes to, like, the guys getting to know me, it was nothing but respect. I only had that one incident that was really bad, and if y'all want to know what it is, then you need to watch the movie. Right.
No, and that's really bad.
And,
you know, and
on top of that, like you were saying, me myself personally, I would never want to go to a women's facility.
Okay.
That's just me, myself, personally. Because, I mean, what's the point? It's a whole lot of work to be you and all of that. And I definitely don't want to be around tons of y'all or whatever
The
when
nerve.
I go to prison. Yeah, I mean, at least give a bitch some eye candy or something. Like, you know, I don't have to do nothing but... Yeah, I mean, you know, but when it comes down to, you know, transgenders and things of that nature, I mean, they want to go there, you know, I go there. I mean, it should be a choice. And
you think it should be a choice? That's so hard. 'cause
well, I
feel
don't
like
know.
it has
I
to
mean,
be across the board, whatever, you know what I mean? And that's the
Yeah.
difficulty of it.
I mean, hey, I know for me, I'm not going over there to
Yeah.
the women's side. So I don't
And you're not
know.
going back to prison ever, so don't.
Girl,
Yeah.
I'm not, we doing movies.
Yeah, we doing movies.
Yeah, ain't nobody doing, that's done. That's in the past.
What do you think if you wouldn't have gone to prison, what would have been, you think that things would have been even worse? You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes people will be like, prison saved my life. And, you know, I would have probably done X, Y, and Z. Like, I've heard people say that. I might have gotten, you know, into things even deeper. It could have ended even worse for me. Do you think that there was any type of rehabilitation for you going there? Was there anything that you feel like this helped me in any way?
I feel as though it did help me in many ways. I've already been shot twice. I didn't necessarily foresee that coming, but, you know, everything, it was so rapid. And God just had to grab me and say, you need to calm down and you need to sit down. This is your lesson. And in a way, it did help me. It humbled me a great deal, you know, because how do you sit up there and have millions, and when you get out of prison, you have to learn how to use a EBT card or a bridge card or
Right.
whatever it is that they call it, you know, and then you living on Skid Row and things of that nature with one restroom on each floor where it's a shared restroom. So, you know, it humbled me, and I could actually say, yeah, it did. It did. It did. You know, it changed a lot in how I see things and where I am, and
Who's
just,
around you too? Because like you said, there's some people that were your rocks during that time. And
it was my niece and all her friends.
Right.
They inserted the youth back in me. So that was fun to be around them. You know, and then of course, like my family, you know, my rocks, they were there.
now what about the rest of the gay gangsters?
What about them?
Yeah, like what, do you still keep in contact? What's the deal with that? And were they around when you went to jail? Because you had a whole crew, the gay gangsters. Y'all was running it up.
I just saw them at the premiere.
Oh, okay.
And so Yosef, my son, he was there. Rashid, my nephew, his lover, Jimmy. I mean, they were all there. All the ones who are still alive. Like in the film, you see Jihad. Jihad is deceased.
Okay.
You know, that was like my first son. And then, who else? Oh, Zaire, he's not here.
Zaire. So Zaire was your
That was my lover.
lover. But now I'm trying to figure out, so he was Muslim, and he did not want his family to know about you. So, or he said they did know about you.
They
He just
did.
couldn't bring you home. So he wasn't necessarily closeted, but it was his religion that prevented him from knowing that this could go any further.
I'm surprised you didn't figure it out. You don't know who Zaire is?
I was trying to figure. I want to tell you because it's a real person,
It is, but I'm not going
and I
I'm
ain't
not
gonna
going to
lie.
do it on air, so
I was watching it and I was like, "Who
you better figure
is
it out.
this person?"
you know who it is.
But Zaire is deceased. And
Yes.
yes, oh my gosh, I'm trying to figure. You said what?
You better not.
I'm gonna listen. Y'all gonna tell me, but you're gonna watch. I am
Yeah,
gonna
she
find
gonna
out.
find out, but
Okay.
she gonna find out in a minute before we leave, because you know she knows. See,
Look, all I gotta do.
she
is
can rank get that tea.
But in a situation like that, that's also a learning lesson, right? Because you want to be with somebody who's loud and proud to. Please, you want to be with somebody who's loud and proud to have you and to be able to bring you around their family. But like you said, it's not easy for everybody even to be able to do that. So I'm about to find out, y'all. Listen, if you got to watch this movie and then y'all got to add me and let me know. How did you feel just watching this movie for the first time when you had the premiere with everybody in the room? What was that like? It was
surreal. Mm-hmm. And, it was amazing.
Okay.
So pinky swear,
okay,
right?
I'm quiet.
Okay. Yeah, don't be,
I'm not.
girl. Don't dish my tea.
I'm not dishing the tea.
Okay, girl. But no, it was amazing with my family to have them there and all of my loved ones. The most amazing thing I can say about a biopic is that I'm still alive. Mm-hmm. I was there for Dwayne, who plays me. Mm-hmm. So that he
did an amazing job too.
He shadowed me.
Yeah, amazing.
He was right there. He already had it, but it was great to be able to have the actual individuals that are in alignment alive, especially my mother.
Right.
And so AJ knows my mother.
Oh my God! I love me some AJ. She was, listen, I was happy when she got that fur coat. I was like, get it, girl.
Oh, girl, that's exactly how mommy was. Yeah, so it was funny. And then Derek's character, mm-hmm. Greg Jr., Judge Mathis' son.
Oh, my gosh.
So, yeah, it was.
And Judge Mathis is so Detroit.
Yes, he is.
For him to have, he was the executive producer, right? Did he?
Yes, he is. He better hurry up and get us to Detroit because them people is burning down the door.
Did you have ill will towards your mom for kicking you out, or did you understand?
At that particular time, I didn't really understand. I was scared because, now I'm going somewhere that I've never been, California. Mm-hmm. And, so I was angry at first, but once I got into rehab and things of that nature, then I ended up forming more clarity, mm-hmm. and I understood where she was coming from.
Okay. And that was hard for her. You was a handful.
Yeah, it was. And, my mother is a tough cookie, but, she did what was best for me. Mm-hmm. And I understand that. I get it.
Right.
Yes.
All right. Well, listen, you guys, make sure you please watch Fighting to Be Me, the Dwen Curry story. It's the reasons like this that I have BET Plus, okay, to be able to watch shows and movies like this. It was actually phenomenal. Sometimes we be like, okay, what's it? But when I tell you, you are going to not be able to walk away, sit down, watch this with your friends. It's amazing to have you here, like you said, to be able to tell your story. And fashion-wise, what do you want to do now when it comes? Because it felt like you really had an eye for that. So aside from this, what is your life like today on a day-to-day basis?
Well, right now I'm promoting the movie, mm-hmm. and right now I'm fighting for the series.
Okay.
Okay. And the book. So my focal point is more there. Mm-hmm. I'm not running up and down Rodale Drive, running in Gucci and all that.
Right.
And shopping. Those days are over. The legends, the people that I've touched, it fills my heart, and I just always feel like no sooner than you've achieved one goal, then there's always another one to meet. Mm-hmm. So it's not how you fall down, it's how you get up. And fashion, I've already conquered it.
Right.
What's next? I'm ready to conquer this.
Is it single life, or what's going on with that?
It's definitely single life.
Okay.
I am single. So we'll see if it's any potentials. Hit me on that Instagram, Dwayne, the original diva.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much, Dwen Curry. Watch that again. It's Fighting to Be Me, the Dwen Curry story. If you need to go back and watch the American Gangster Trap Queens episode, you can do that too, and this. But make sure you support, as we should.
Absolutely. I love you.
All right. I appreciate it. I love you too. I'm so glad that you were able to tell your story. I know this is going to resonate with a lot of people.
Well, you are that girl. So you done just pushed it out there. So I love it.
Thank
and
you.
I'm so proud of you.
And congrats to Billboard in Times Square. That's an amazing
Girl, now
feeling.
that's big, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a huge
Who
deal.
would never think that?
I mean, that's a moment in Times Square of all places.
Girl, right there. I done went and took pictures.
Congratulations.
Yes, thank you so much. And BET Plus, and Megamind Media, and Judge Mathis, and Tressa Smallwood, just everybody. And Zalise James, and Tiffany Kaufman.
So I can't forget nobody.
Yeah, all my people.
Thank
I
you.
love them.
Way up.